I recall recently talking to one of our client partners, and internally they were reviewing the questionnaire that we'd had helped them structure, and somebody was looking at the number of responses to this one. It was a frequency of use. I think it was bicycling in the neighborhood, and I think we had come up with 6 or 7 different levels of frequency, and the person indicated, oh, that's probably too many. It'd be a lot to analyze that, and maybe we should cut it down to having fewer intervals of frequency. And I just had to respond to that. It's like, well, no, it's an appropriate number of responses or frequencies to ask a resident, somebody especially who bicycles, how often do they bicycle? And it's far better to ask the more detailed, and if need to, when you're doing the analysis, combine few of the response categories together. One of the challenges that we've run into recently with some client partners who have brought data to us to evaluate and to analyze and prepare reports is that we go through a fairly stringent cleaning process, data cleaning it's called, and it's a step that I think especially the DIY software just doesn't allow you to do, because the DIY software is wonderful, and even the software we use provides some of this real-time interim data reporting. It's great, but it can be very misleading, and a couple of examples are when we get data back from our own systems. With most municipalities, FOIPPA requirements, you need to have a FOIPPA statement about the information that you're collecting, especially personal information, and how you're going to use that information. We cover that in all of the surveys that we do, and even provide privacy impact assessment if a municipality requires that from us. But one of the things that we collect is the IP address. Now, a lot of people don't understand that that is personal information, because you can actually identify a person or a household through the IP address. The value of collecting an IP address is it's one way. Only when you're cleaning data can you see if a single household or a single device has multiple responses to a survey. So if you're doing a survey and it's a contentious issue and there's groups in favor and groups opposed, you may want to take a look at the IP addresses. Of course, you won't be able to see that within your DIY software. It's only when you download the software that you'll be able to see that, and you want to make sure that if you're downloading that you have the FOIPPA language, and so you're compliant on that side. And so we routinely, when we're downloading data for analysis, look at IP addresses. We see any duplicate IP addresses. As a secondary measure, we look at responses and see what response patterns there are, as well as the timing of when the surveys were completed, and most specifically the verbatim comments. And in some cases we have, for different municipalities, especially when it comes to a contentious issue such as a new development or rezoning, we've seen some parties trying to stuff the ballot, and we see IP addresses, common IP addresses, and of course, just because they're the same IP address doesn't mean that somebody's trying to stuff a ballot. It could be somebody completing the survey from a public library or in City Hall, or on the same device within the same household. So there's other ways of getting in there and analyzing it, but that cleaning of the data can have a significant impact on the results. If you have a survey of 500 people and let's say anywhere from 30 to 40 individuals or 30 to 40 responses are some group trying to stuff the ballot, then you can definitely have some results that are skewed, and it can mislead your conclusions and the overall report that you're preparing for the initiative. So again, it's one of those things that from a professional research perspective, cleaning data is always something that we do, and it's built in. Most clients don't understand that we do it or what it's all about, or what the necessity is.